I'm in the small town of Danbridge. It's actually the second oldest community in Tennessee. It's actually had a number of the early presidents stayed here along the coach route. This is gorgeous. I want to do a series of towns under 5,000 in Tennessee. So here we are taking in Danbridge as one of our first ones. Shepherd Inn, one of the oldest hotels probably in the country. 1820. Small town Tennessee. We're coming up to the courthouse. Well, we're going through Pigeon Forge. I just kind of like the name. I didn't realize that this whole area and strip is attached to Dollywood. So you get this whole area is this one large amusement area attached to Dollywood, which looks like I'm going to be going to Dollywood here the next week or so. But take this in, Pigeon Forge. And as my cousin Wiley pointed out, it's America's amusement park. In fact, he swears it's better than going to Disneyland. But driving through Little White Pine right now, and I thought, okay, here's a nice little town to go through. Wait a minute, we're already through it. Well, there goes White Pine. We're coming into historic Jonesburg, Tennessee's oldest town, settled even before the state was instituted. Known for its preservation of culture and also keeping up the arts, a beautiful preservation of old buildings.
Just park and walk it.
Yep.
Married in small town Tennessee, Jonesburg, sorry. Kind of finalizing the tour of Jonesburg, but take a look at, even here in 1820, they were establishing newspaper articles for the abolition of human slavery. Some parting thoughts from a Canadian. The heart of Tennessee, the start of the state of Tennessee. You're also looking at the start of after the American Revolution, the kind of the center of everything growing. At the same time, you got a growing anti-slavery abolitionist movement in the 1820s, and then 30 years later, the Civil War. So, an area of contradictions. We're coming to historic Morristown, established in the late 1700s. And Morristown, even during the Civil War, was a tug-of-war between the North and the South in this particular region. And it's also been historically famous because of Davy Crockett's family lived in this area, and they've done some preservation work. And we're going to head into the downtown core of this historical town. We're in the historic downtown of Morristown, well preserved. And if you notice, they got a skywalk above that, which is unusual for cities here, but it had a flood about 40 years ago in this particular region, so they've built up some of the areas again. But we're going to get out for a few minutes and just explore Morristown. The Crockett family home in Morristown, Tennessee. You know, the parents all lived in this area of Davy Crockett. His grandparents were killed through a small town we just went through about 10 miles back. But this is the ancestral area of Davy Crockett. We're coming into Sparta, Tennessee, not the fictional Sparta that was out of Mississippi in the movie Heat of the Night, but this is the real Sparta with a history going back into the early 1800s. At one time, it was going to be the actual capital of Tennessee. Now it's under one of those towns that are under 5,000 population. And so it's got a very historic area. We have a lot of bluegrass mucus that come out of this area. A lot of historical figures have been here. Mostly Sparta is known today for its agriculture and its history with bluegrass music. We're heading to Rogersville, established in 1775, along the back roads into the Appalachians. And Rogersville was settled by Davy Crockett's grandparents. So this whole area is of where the Crockett family had settled. And we're traveling through the kind of rustic old areas of the Appalachians. You can see kind of the older established small communities that as you travel through this area, but this is unbelievable. We're coming into historic Rogersville.
You notice they don't have the regular.
When you walk the streets of Rogersville, you can feel the history. If you didn't think the Masons are well established in the late 1700s in the U.S., look at this Masonic temple right in one of the heart of the original towns in Tennessee. Well, I'm in a small town of Banbury where I've been staying for weeks with my cousin. Town of under 1,000 people in Tennessee, and now it's the 4th of July and the little parade is up. And here we come with the golf carts. Now I'm just staying in this beautiful area and using it as a place that I can go out and travel around into West Virginia and Tennessee. But today's 4th of July, so here we are in Banbury, Tennessee on 4th of July with a with a golf cart parade. I love it, only in America.